Hello there. Welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with created content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isobe, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Amazing. One beautiful space I love coming into. The Word Cafe live show. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, good everything. How are you all doing? Has it been at your end? Beautiful? Yeah, it's wonderful at my own end here. Beautiful, I must say. I'm glad, super glad coming into the studio again, sitting down and thinking about my audience and all of the stuffs we share. Thank you. I want to say a very big thank you for being there. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the depth of my soul. I want to say thank you. This episode, what are we going to be doing today? Each time I think about what I'm going to share with you, sit in front of you, and all of that, I really ponder and ask, how will it come across? How will they handle it? Looking at what we've been doing so far within this space, how will they handle it and all of that? So it gives me this, what I call it, thinking moment. I go back to process all what we've been doing and all of that. And somehow I come to tell myself, okay, I'm going to bring this aspect of the show to share with my audience. And in cause of doing that, okay, let me tell you the topic. Yes, I know that is, maybe it will help guide what we want to do today. The creative realm. The creative realm. How do we create stuff? Where does it come from? How do we go about it? How do we process all of that? I am not going to go into the textbook and all of that, but I'm going to share with you how I see it, how I view it, how, all of this, the creative realm or the realm of creativity in a way. So when I was processing this, I came across the thought put forward by Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. Leonardo da Vinci is a great mind. When you read about him, he did a lot within the art world, scientific world. He's known for that, and a lot has been, when I say ascribed to his name, ascribed to his name. So beautiful. Yep. So he said something, and I looked at it and I said, it goes a long way explaining, or rather pointing to what I want to talk about on this episode. He said, an average human looks without seeing, listens without hearing, touches without feeling, eats without tasting, moves without physical awareness, inhales without awareness of odor or fragrance, if you want to call it that, and talks without thinking. Now, so we have, when you look at this, you see what is, we have certain things to look out for: seeing, listening, or rather hearing. We have feeling, we have tasting, we have physical awareness, being aware of your environment. We have being aware of smell. You smell something, and also thinking. More or less like the five senses. He's talking about the power of the five senses, describing it like a doorway to something greater. And a lot more times we neglect these things. We just gloss over them as if to say, whatever, they don't matter and all of that. But in actual fact, if you look at it closely, they do matter. I'm going to take it from the perspective now. The other day I was discussing with my wife. She's a chef. She does a lot of cooking. And she doesn't just cook, she creates meals. That's the best way to describe it. Sometimes she just comes up with something and, so I just asked her, how did you come about this? She said, well, I just sat down there and I was processing my thoughts, and I just felt like, okay, if I do this, if I do that, if I do this, if I do that, this may come out this way, that may come out that way. And somehow it comes out good. The other day she made a bread sandwich, I think, and I've never tasted that before, but it tasted so good. It had this heavenly taste. Somebody will ask, how do you know how heaven tastes? Well, that's how it tastes. So we kept talking. And one thing I came to figure out when she was speaking, I had to pay attention to it. Somehow in her subconscious, she's come to see her vision, her sight, more or less, goes beyond just seeing a piece of cake, a piece of bread, a tin of tomato, or whatever. She goes beyond seeing, like the ingredients. What is it going to taste like in your, when you put it on your tongue, your taste buds, and deconstructing it to that level and fusing some form of energy into it, and what comes out at the other end is something amazing. So looking at how she goes through her process of creativity, creating the reality of food, it's beyond just the mass in front of her, the ingredients and all that. She kind of interacts with the ingredients, like calling them by name and all of that. Well, she is not a biochemist. I'm the biochemist. So when I tried explaining one or two things at that level, she said, yeah. Because you come to see that now some of us are attracted. Like, let me take it a step further. You ate something some years ago. The taste in your mouth doesn't leave you. It registers in your senses, as it were. And somehow you want to have a feel of it again. You want to eat that meal again. So you didn't just eat something, you tasted something. You didn't just, should I say, look at something. No, you saw something. You went beyond, the physicality of it and to relate with this ingredients and all of that. And it's like they hold this promise that satisfies something within you, and you just have to make contact with it again, and you go back. That's how it is, within the creative space. Yeah, within the creative space. So the other day I looked at how musical notes come together. If you check the musical note, the scale is just, I think, about 7 of them with a repetition, which makes it the 8, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The last do is a repetition because it starts with, like, you're going back. So you now see how these notes are brought together in such a beautiful pattern, combinations, how la relates with do, or do relates with ti, or ti relates with saw, and saw relates with, and all of that. At the end of the day, you hear people sing. And somehow when you look at guys who create songs, musical piece or pieces and all of that. So like when you listen to Kirk Franklin, or when you watch Kirk Franklin producing, or rather creating sounds, you see how he plays on the key, as in the piano, I beg your pardon, and how he plays with the keys. And you come to wonder, you ask yourself, how did he know that was an F sharp, E, this, R, that? But that is to tell you, he's not just seeing the keys. He's not just hearing the sound, as it were. He's listening. To him, the sounds are alive. That's the best way to describe them. They are alive. They are like entities that he can relate with. And when he speaks to this one connects with the other one connects with the other one. And when there's something missing, it's like brothers and sisters of a kind of a fraternity, so to say. They are fraternized, and it's like something is that sound is missing. Sound A is missing. Let's go get sound A. And they like tell Kirk, that sound is missing. He said, oh, fine, yes, bring it in. And at the end of the day, he creates this unique sound, a melody that is so beautiful that we can't but listen, and we want to hear more. So in that realm, that is how I see it. The realm of creativity. Yes, your senses are needed, but somehow you need to surrender your senses, as it were, and like a door opens and you walk in and you begin to see. And that's how I see, because I write, I write, and that's how I see writing. That's how I see writing. When I want to create a piece and all of that, sometimes it's like, how do you go about it? How do you come about? How do you know that this is meant to come in here, that is meant to come in here, and all of that? But the truth is, I just have this knowing, like, I am seeing beyond the veil. I'm hearing beyond my auditory, that's the outer ear. And it's like, I want to create a piece. I want to write about this. I want to write about that. And how to like encourage people out there. And so what do? Yes, I'm still here with you. What do? I go beyond the veil. More like you dig deep, and you feel like something is damned within you, and it needs this pressure, or rather it wants to release this pressure, and you just like, how do I let this pressure out without cracking, or rather creating a destructive, would I say, presence? So you begin to learn that art of the creative space. And you know what? It takes patience. Yes, it does. It takes patience. Like if I ask an artist or a singer or a writer, as the case may be, how did it come? Sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, if not years. You're creating a particular piece, a masterpiece or whatever, So not in a hurry. Yes, but they have a sense of urgency. So you pick these things as you walk, as you're going through the streets, as you're driving, as you're walking doing your chores or whatever. It's like you are tuned, you are connected to this place where you're just waiting for that. The best way to describe it is like, not like it is inspiration. You're waiting for it to rain down, and like you begin to put the drops together into a bucket or into a cup or into that vessel, and it just goes one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And before you know it, you have a bowl filled with water that can satisfy the taste of someone. Yes, that's how it is. That's how it is. So I just want to encourage you. That's why I came into this place, to talk about the realm or the creative realm. It's real. It's a beautiful one. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. And when you get into that space, there's no limit. There's no limit. You are not bound by time, as it were. You are not bound by the physical laws, as it were. You are only bound by the realm of creativity, the law that governs it. And what is that? You want to create something new. You want to create something new. Why do you want to create that new thing? You just want to satisfy a taste, a hunger. Not a selfish one now, but one that the world needs. One that the world needs to engage with, to calm those troubled situations, those troubled minds. Is it with your song? Is it with your write-up? Is it with your food? So I want to talk to you today. Don't just in that domain, that realm you find yourself, don't just look at it as something like, well, you just want to do it for doing sake. No. You are a portal through whom or by which solutions, answers come in art form, music form, scientific form, but they just have to come in. Yes, they have to come in. All right, guys, you know how we do it on the show. I just felt to share this with you, honestly. So in that space where you are and what you're doing, connect. Beyond the sight, you need to see. Beyond, putting it in your mouth, you need to taste. Scripture says, yes, taste and see, for the Lord is good. You can actually taste it, not taste it with your tongue, with your palate. And there's this relationship, an enzyme is released that causes, this catalyzation, it brings about the breaking down and all of that. And the energy is released into the human soul. You don't just hear, listen. The nodes are speaking like they are actually speaking. They have mouth, the buccal cavity. They're releasing something, and they want you to hear it and capture it, And you don't just look at it from the superficial perspective. No, you become aware. Now, before I go, I'm going to share this. Each time you see people who are into the fashion space, they deal with colors a lot. They play with colors. And you ask yourself, how do they bring about unique colors? Like for women, when women begin to describe colors, blows my mind. You hear things like peppered red, sea green, what do you call it now? Lilac this, baby yellow, baby pink, shouty this. And it's like, how did they come about that? So it's like the colors, bright colors, dull colors, they relate with them. They see these colors and the color speaks to them. And it's like they give it a name. And what they call those colors eventually become. So within that space you see it. And also with fragrance, when you see a lady turned on, sorry to say, like turned on when a particular smell comes in. I mean, what's the word now to use? She perceives it or she smells it, and it's like relating with the smell. So it is beyond just the liquid that comes out from that compressed bottle. It goes into the atmosphere, and it's like it travels with the air, and the molecules are broken into this minute, invisible, should I call them strands, but they just go into the nostrils, and they can tell that is vanilla, that smells like cocoa, that smells like yes, that smells like, they begin to describe and all of that. And you see that, how do we now create these smells? Recreating the smells. The fragrance, I mean, how do you recreate them? Basically, relating with this smell at that molecular, if not subatomic level. Or even you want to say, yeah, that level. You know the level I'm talking about. Yes, that unseen level. They begin to like describe them. And upon description, they bring them back. The bottom line is it created an experience, and they just want to have that experience again. I mean, for all of us, when you go for that drink, when you go for that substance, when you go for that thing, when you go back to that particular place, you had an experience. That's why you're going back there. And that is how it is for the creatives. All right, guys. Okay, I felt I should come share this with you. So whatever you do within this space, don't be in a hurry. I'm going to end with these words. The average man, yes, that's what he said. But now, the beyond average doesn't just look, he or she, sees. He or she doesn't just listen, hear. He or she doesn't just touch, they feel it. He or she doesn't just eat. The taste is what drives it. He or she doesn't just move. You don't just move, but you create this awareness. You are so aware. You don't just inhale. You're very conscious of the smell, the odor. You don't just talk. You think. Because as a man thinketh, so he will become. You know how we say it on the show. This is the space where we come in to lean on one another's experience to forge a positive path. Till I come your way again. Bye for now. Awesome time it has been with you on the Word Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words, my HRO notebook, and Hocus Focus on God on Amazon and Roving Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at the same address at Amakri Isowe. I love to hear from you and how this podcast has impacted you. You can leave me a message at my email address, amacrigaribaldi@gmail.com. That is AMACHREEGARIBALDI. Yes, till I come your way again. Bye for now.